Okay, Shalom Aleichem. It is my biggest pleasure and zechus to be joined by Rabbi Yissocher Frand, who is a well-known Maggid Shiur in Eretz Yisrael for many, many, many years. I don't even know how many. He could tell us soon. But the reason why he's joined us is because we are just a couple days before Parsha B'Halacha Tafshin Pei Daled. Rabbi Frand has been saying a Parsha Shiur locally in Baltimore for 40 plus years. I know that it has been available via satellite. This was before internet, before online. But Rabbi Frand managed, with the help of others, to get this to other places live across the world for, I'm assuming, over 20 years. And now we've had this chus of having Rabbi Frand share with us Divrei Torah exclusively every single week on the All Parsha platform. And Rabbi Frand now, besides the books that have been put out over the past many years from Art Scroll, Rabbi Frand has now published a sefer based on parts of his Parsha Shiur that he's been giving for the last 40 plus years. So we'd like to discuss all that with him. My first question is, and obviously we have to acknowledge that Klal Yisrael is standing in a terrible situation. The matzav in Eretz Yisrael is beyond belief and beyond words, and we hope that any Divrei Torah and anything that we could do, and any chizuk that comes out from this conversation and learning Parsha should be a schos and a shmira for all those that are needed in refuah shalema, b'soich shar chilei Yisrael.
Amen.
Rabbi Frand, maybe take us back to the beginning. How did you get into learning Parsha?
Okay, so first of all, I want to be paseh b'chvayt v'achsanya. The achsanya over here is the Orthodox Union and the platform of All Parsha. I know that it's widely seen because I get feedback, and I appreciate the Harbatzas Torah that the OU is providing, not only in terms of All Parsha, but Al Daf I myself use from time to time, and I really want to thank Rabbi Moshe Shwed and his whole crew in terms of the All Parsha app. So how did I get started? So Rabbi Shwed mentioned I've been in Eretz Yisrael a long time. Actually, this past Elul, I celebrated my 60th year in the Yeshivas in Eretz Yisrael, which is a tremendous chus that Rebbeinu Shalom has given me to be in one place from the time I was 15 years old to now, and be able to learn here and to say a shiur here. This is really a schus min hashamayim. So when I first started saying shiur, so again, it started very small. It was called a chabura, wasn't really a shiur. And those days I said once a week. I said a shiur once a week on the Gemara. So, as time went on, I wanted to say more. So I went to my Rebbe, who I consider my Rebbe not only in terms of setting on my feet and learning, but who taught me how to say a shiur, which is two different things, learning and learning how to say a shiur. His name was Rabbi Yachal Meshach Kolevsky, Zecher Tzadik Levracha. He was a world-class Maggid Shiur. So I asked him, what else should I do? So he says, why don't you send the Parsha Shavua? And I did. And this goes back, more than 50 years. More than 40 years anyway. So I started saying in Parsha Shavua, and I see the Bochum loved it. They ate it up. They loved it, and so because it's something that's shava l'chol nefesh. We think of the genius of the Daf Yomi. Everybody's holding on the same daf. The genius of Parsha Shavua that Chazal had in mind is from a 4-year-old to an 84-year-old. Everybody's learning the same Parsha, which is an amazing thing. I mean, that keeps Klal Yisrael together. Everybody's learning the same Parsha. So, again, I started out, and I went through different kufis. For many years, I would focus on Reb Shamshon Fall Hirsch. Then I would focus on Reb Chaim Shmulevitz's Shmuzen. And every year, but the Rebbeinu Shalom would be mazmin me a sefer, the right sefer. and that's what I've been doing. Uh, how do I pick? How do I pick the sefer? Well, again, that's siyata d'shmaya. But how do I pick the topic I'm going to talk about? I mean, you can spend an entire year on Parshas Bereshis. Forget sefer Bereshis. So the answer is I say what speaks to me, and Baruch Hashem, thankfully, what speaks to me apparently speaks to other people as well.
So you mentioned that you started with Bachrim Talmidim in Yisrael, and then how did it end up to where it is now in the Maggid Shiur of Baltimore? And eventually, I have to mention with the help of Morris Smith, because I know he's involved, bringing it not online. This is before online, satellite to shuls across the country.
So in 1982, when I was still in Kollel, so the Kollel said, well, let's start some shiurim in town. And one of the shiurim that started in town was to say this format. The format of my shiur in town is halacha and agoda. It's about 40 minutes of halacha that's related to the parsha, which I always had a desire for. So that's a lawnmower. I'm sorry if you're hearing that. I always had a geschmack in that, some halachic part related to the parsha, and then I would finish with the 20 minutes on the parsha. Now, everybody likes the parsha, if for no other reason, because you're going to sit down with your family on Friday night, and you wanted to make it a Torah Dikasuda, rather than talking about politics or what's going on in shul or sports or whatever it may be. You want to say something. So people, they have what to say. But more fundamentally, it used to be when you bought some kind of device, it came with a manual, okay? Today, they've gotten rid of that also because you go online, right? Unfortunately, I had to buy a new cell phone yesterday, which is, I hate that, okay? But okay, it's done. It only took me 4 hours. Okay, so I bought a cell. So it doesn't come with, it used to come with a manual. The most complex item in the world is the human being. It's more complex than the most sophisticated computer. What's the manual? What's the manual of the Ben Adam, of the human being? How does it work? How does it think? What do you do? That's what Torah is. Torah is the manual of how human beings work. And that manual primarily, at least fundamentally, is the Parsha Hashavua. Now, you read the Parsha Hashavua, it doesn't say, how you're supposed to feel when XYZ happens or how you're supposed to read. But that's what Chazal are here for. Chazal opened up the Torah Shebichsav, and showed us how people, that's what all this is all about. That's what, especially sefer Bereshis, the story of the Ovis, the story about Yosef and his brothers. It's all about the midas and the way that people think psychologically, etc. That's why Reb Chaim Shmulevitz was such a genius, because he saw psychological insights into the Parsha Shavua. And I've said that often that one of the best svarim on Chumash in the last 30 years, to my knowledge, is a sefer called Som Derech from Reb Simcha Zisel Brody, the Chevron Rashiva. The insights, the machshavas, it's amazing, And over the years, I've been, doing this as Rabbi Shwed said. I started in 1982, so now it's more than 40 years, and people like it, and I was zeicha that Meir Zlotowitz, Zichroina Levrocha, Meir Zlotowitz, Martzkold, convinced me to go ahead and to put this into the written form, and I was zeicha to have a wonderful editors, and so now there are 4 Parsha books. Frand on the Parsha 1, 2, 3, and a Vort on the Parsha, because they didn't like the same title for the 4th time. At any rate, and it's invaluable. I mean, at whatever stage you're at, whatever level of learning you're at, whether you learned in Brisk or whether you learned in, the day school of Poughkeepsie, New York, there's something in the Parsha for you.
Okay, so first of all, you should be zeichet to have another 40 more years of saying Parsha Shiurim.
Amen.
It's zunt and content for halacha and hashkafa, and you should have the right sefer and the right sefarim to be able to give it over every year.
Amen. Amen.
So my next question is: you're a rebbe, you're a speaker, you have many talmidim. They're all real talmidim that you know, talmidim that you don't know. If someone would come over to you, and it could depend who it is, but there are people who, even though Chazal say that you are mechuyev to be Maver Sedra, that's brought down in halacha, and Chazal have a wonderful skula for those that do Shnai Mikra ve'Echad Targum, that someone who completes the parsha every year has a special skula, all looking for skulas, Arichem Yamav Ushnaisav, and one who's able, right now, we're at the beginning of a year, and someone could take it on, Ashrei Lohem, it's beautiful. But if someone comes to you and says, Rebbe, realistically, I'm not holding by it, it's not something I could do. However, I want to learn some of the parsha, or be kaira something. So I'm not asking my halachic perspective. If you mekayim the halacha, that's for a paisik. Rabbi Frand, I don't think consider himself a paisik. But as a rebbe, asking a rebbe, what would you advise the Talmud? And do they have any shaykhs? Maybe if you want to offer an opinion to this school of Chazal of Marichal Yamu V'Shnaisav.
Well, if you can't do the whole thing, and it's ironic, I was just looking through my notes for something else, and I just found a chiddush from, I think, Rabbi Sternbuch about Shuv. I asked him, he can't read the Targum. He breaks his teeth on the Targum and doesn't understand a word. And basically doesn't even understand much of the Chumash. So Rabbi Sternbuch paskin for him, and he says, you can read it in English. And you can be Mekayim, certainly Echad Targum, reading the English. Now, is it optimum? No. But, today, there's so much out there. I mean, between ArtScroll and between online shiurim, everybody, I think almost everybody is capable of reading the Parsha, whether it's in, I had a bocher is not my shiur, he sits in front of me by davening, he's from Chile. So he says, I've never really gotten into Parsha Shashavua. So I asked him, does ArtScroll have a Spanish Chumash? He said, yeah. And he started learning the Parsha in Spanish. And he's better for it. So whatever it takes, whether it's, online, whether it's in English, Spanish, French, you certainly can learn part of the Parsha. And maybe start small. Every week you'll learn up to Sheni. Next year, from till Shlishi. And then you'll master it. I mean, listen, there are people that started Daf Yomi in their 60s, never having learned Gemara before. Now, Daf Yomi is a lot harder than Parsha Hashavua.
Right. Excellent. Okay, so, just to echo what you said before about the Chumash being the manual of a person's life, people are reading books, this is the book. This is the book. This is the book you should be reading. All the different lines out there about, having read the book and everything else. This is the book. This is the book.
It is the book. Yes, correct.
The book in capital letters. Okay, so let's just move over. I don't want to thank you very much again for your time. It's a busy time, and as we mentioned before, Rabbi Frand mentioned to me before that the yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael is starting early because of the matzav in Eretz Yisrael. So it's right before the Zman. So maybe show us and tell us what you just published now, and where is it available, and how can people get it? And we obviously will share this through all our channels and make the information available.
So I don't know how well it comes out. To me, it's backwards because it's a mirror. But it's called Parsha B'Halacha, and It's on Sefer Bereshis and Shmos. And what this is that I went back over the 40 plus years that I've been saying this, the halacha part, and I picked 5 pieces per parsha of what I think has currency, that's negeya, that's applicable, that's geschmack. And I was very fortunate to have great editors. There's a company out of Lakewood called Ali Zayas, and they re-edited it and recast it. It's easy reading. It's the type of thing, Friday night between Kabbalah, Shabbos, and Maariv, if there's a break, you can take this and you can learn a siman. It's divided up into different sections. It's easy reading, and all modesty to the side, it's geschmack. It's geschmack. People enjoy it, and
so it's capturing Rabbi Frand's passion, and Rabbi Frand's delivery, and Rabbi Frand's chidushim in a nice, concise, clear book, sefer format.
Right, and the publisher, the distributor, the editors, they think that it's going to be a hit because, again, it appeals to people. Now, I'm not going to sit here and praise myself, even though I am, but that aside, others have said that people will enjoy the sefer, and I think you will as well.
Okay, fine. So I'm assuming it's available in all your local Judaica.
So it's I have a distributor called Imha Sefer, which is located in Brooklyn, and he's put it in certainly the bookstores in New York and the New York area, and certainly in Lakewood and all the bookstores, swarm stores in Lakewood. We're going to the Yad Yechiel, which is the one that hosts all of my shiurim. So we'll put up a link to JudaicaPlaza.com, which is a bookstore in Lakewood. So you can get it online. You have to click on the link. It's not up yet, but it should be within the next week or two. And you can call your local bookstore. You can call Eichler's. I know Eichler's is carrying it, and they can ship it to where you may be in Omaha, Nebraska, but you can get it.
Okay, so yeah, I'll just update this. I see Rabbi Frand's talking a little bit of tech lingo. We could get the link up, I'm assuming, quicker than a week or two. We hope I'll look for it and we'll get the link. And Be'ezus Hashem, we hope to share it. And again, check it out in your local bookstore. And we will, Be'ezus Hashem, post a link to wherever we share it. So again, thank you very much. Again, continued Hatzlacha in all your Habatzas HaTorah, and thank you very much for joining us.
And thank you for your status and the entire crew of the OU tech people, including Osher Tesser, who's in the background, and Rabbi Moshe Shwed, and Asher Kechachem, and as you mentioned, what can we do here in America? We can daven and we can give money, this and that, but the biggest chus is Torah is Megan, and that the Limud Torah, and that's, you want to do something for Klal Yisrael. I was in the supermarket yesterday, and I was in line. There was another person in front of me. There's one person checking out. So the guy says to me, "I want to pay for your groceries." I don't know who the guy is. He says, I want to do something for Klal Yisrael. I want a schus. So he paid for the person in front of me. He paid for my groceries. I mean, it wasn't such a big bill, but people are searching. So I have an eitzah for you. Start learning something more. 5, 10, 15 minutes. The schus of Klal Yisrael, Bnei Shalom should go ahead, be shemer matzel. He should be reifil chol shvurei leiv. Unfortunately, there are so many. And we should hear Besuras Tavis Yeshuas from the Chametz.
Amen.